what makes me do what I do, and who am I, where did I come from, and what pushed me to take this, and what is pushing me to do that. Honestly, nothing is pushing me, and I'm not pushed into this. I grew up in a small town, Tanjavur, and grew up at a time wherein Tanjavur was a cultural capital, but resource limited. It's a small town. It has a history and it has an enormous pedigree. The big temple is in that place. It was the capital of Chola kingdom. But grew up in a time wherein it was a very tough time, especially for somebody who knows, despite everybody saying that you are nobody, knows that, no, I don't believe you. In your heart of hearts, you are not able to believe that. And everywhere there is a resource constraint. That's where I grew up. Every day living in that uncertainty, that you're not able to settle for the status quo, because something in me tells me that that's not me. At the same time, struggle for means. Okay? And I'm not just talking about available money for paying fees or anything like that. Okay? Struggle for good guidance, struggle for quality. I was fortunate there, wherein I had many teachers always around me, coming at the right time. I guess I was also, in my heart of hearts, I asked the question and I was a good student, wherein I was always willing to listen and look for what is right. Especially I had a couple of teachers who were living close by in my neighborhood. And the interesting thing is, most of the teachers from whom I learned a lot, they never took me a class. Okay, they were not my teachers in the traditional sense that I took their class, they taught me or anything like that, but they were teachers. They were formal teachers, and they had this enormous sensitivity towards what an individual is and what could be of value. A couple of them, at least one of them, told me that first is, he always kept on telling me, though every input I get from outside was telling me that I'm nobody, I'm a small guy, this, that, and so on. He said, you're much bigger than what you think you are. Okay, keep that in your mind. Okay. Just always keep that in your mind. Okay, and every time you go to a step, know that you've reached there, but you're much bigger than that. So that is one side which went on. So I never settled for it, and that got baked into it. The next thing what he said was, you are you. Okay, and you're realize that you're great all by yourself. You don't need anybody to give you a stamp of authority for you to feel good. Okay, I didn't understand that. Later years, I figured that I am still me, regardless of whether I'm a associate or a vice president or a CEO. It's just a title. Okay, I used to joke when somebody used to say, "Oh, I want to be a CEO." Yeah, start a company and call yourself CEO. What's a big deal? Okay, it's just a title. A title indicative of a particular role you are playing. It is no different from saying that I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a friend or anything like that. It's just a title. It is just a role you play, and a title commensurate with that role. So that is something he said, which never made me feel enamored by the running for a title, running for a career or something. It is very simple, fundamental. You want money, somebody needs a service, you give the service, and for that value you get money. You just earn it and keep going. So that's how it is. Money is a tool. So these are all the things which I internalized, thanks to my people who were my teachers, all my growing up years in that small town. And then I had a very interesting career. I never settled for that. I finished my school. I was in a state rank holder in my school, went to a college. I did very well in the college, and then went to a good college, then went and did my research in IIT, MIT, Indiana University, and so on and so forth. Those are all just so that I don't settle. I just want to do more. It is not for a PhD. It is want to do more, want to know more. And then later it carried into the professional life also. And the moment when I got to higher levels of my professional life, that is when something very interesting happened. Me became more than just me as an individual. I started connecting with a lot of people who are out there and got them into my psyche, and they become a part of me. Okay, the same reason, let's say a parent gets nervous when the child hurts, because they are a part of them at a subconscious level. So that started expanding. It shows whether you care for your team, you care for your people you are working with. So it all comes to that. And at much later level, when I came back to India after going all over the world and doing all kinds of interesting things, I found something changed and something was the same. What was changed is when I was growing up, the resources were limited, but the opportunities were also limited. Suddenly I found the world change, wherein the opportunities are more, the resources continue to be limited. And I was seeing situations wherein a lot of people who believed that just like how I was when I was a teenager, having a bigger image of themselves, and not only that, their parents carry their hope on their shoulders, okay, because they came from a different direction and they settled for it, but they know that there are others doing it, they want their children to have it. Suddenly I found that this single person, the single child, the single youth is carrying the aspiration of everybody on their shoulder. Opportunities are plenty, but the resources are not available to them. And I had some personal encounters in situations wherein one class of them would be people who came up in that, made all the investment, did all the right things, as people said, did all the right things, got the opportunity, and their life is changed forever. Similarly, people did all the things. When it came to that, they were told that they were no good for no reason. They didn't understand why they are no good. And suddenly, all of a sudden, they are looking at a world or a future which is bleak. Their hopes were dashed. I said, no, this can't stand. Okay, this can't stand. Now, moment I do that, like I said, I'm a trained engineer. Okay, very quickly my head kicked in, saying that, now, hey, listen, you had the fanciest education which the world can offer. Okay, you had the fanciest work experience. I call myself an innovator. I run a innovation division in a large company. Innovate this, make the problem go away. Let's see. That's a challenge. Okay, everything else is puny. It is just a passing anecdote. And then the engineer kicked in, and then the rest is history. From there on, it is details, working ground up. But every day, one thing stayed constant, and I never forget this. When I go to bed, I think about all those billions of children who are all hopeful and not getting the resources they want. And think about every single day I don't do this is a day they are missing out. They are a part of me. I can't take it off my system. There are days I can't sleep because of that. Not because I'm twisting and turning and it bothers me. No, it bothers me. What is that other thing I need to do to bring the next group? What is the other thing I need to do to bring the next group? What is the other thing I need to do to bring the next group? It is always the engineer which is kicking in, trying to say that, okay, I did this, it went up to this, but they are not taken in yet. So what is the next thing I need to do to bring those people in, these people in? So I started with colleges, engineering colleges, and then how it goes into other higher education. How do I take it to children? How do I take it to the higher secondary and school, primary, and so it keeps on expanding. Okay, city kids, rural kids, kids in villages, places where there is no power, places where there is no connectivity, technology is not easy, cost is a big factor, 50 rupees is a lot of money, things like that. Every day it keeps on kicking, and we keep on doing the next new thing. So net is, today I see all of them as a part of myself. There is a very interesting, I have to say this, coming from Tanjavur, in our dharmic text in Taittiriya, the Taittiriya Upanishad, there's a saying, Atmanastha Kamaya Sarivam Premabhavati. The moment it is a part of you, you start liking it. The day when all these children and all these people came into my consciousness and became a part of me, today every waking moment, that's what I think about. You want an example of that? You look at my picture 4 years back, I had a lot more black hair, and now it is all turning grey because I can't stop thinking about them. I can't stop thinking about what is the next thing I do. And then it manifests in many forms, and find all the tricks, all the techniques which are my education and work experience and my living in the world and innovating and so on, which brought in every single thing. I use it to make this happen, and that is essentially it. There is one thing I haven't mentioned. It will not be complete if I don't mention that. My family, which totally backed me in this. This is something I'm venturing on my own. I'm leaving all those fancy titles and everything, but I'm venturing into this. My spouse, my kids, they totally backed it. And today, all my associates who are in this organization, they all totally back me. I could see them living this vision along with me, and they do. I don't think they any longer work for salary. Okay, yeah, month end they get the paycheck, but they all are part of it, and I could see the sense of urgency in their mind of how to get that next 100 kids who get served. So I will be remiss if I don't mention them as driving this. All these things started from me starting in a small town, believing that I deserve more than what I've been given, and extending it to all the children of the world. Today I can ask, how can I make it happen? I did ask that, and what you see is a manifestation of that.